don't have to choose one lane to stick with it. When God has made you a multifaceted person where you're like, I love this, I love that, there is a grace to combine and be, you are your own niche.
It's true.
So you don't have to say, oh, I'm an actor and you stick to that. I'm a singer and I stick to that.
Yeah.
Oh, but I love children and education. I'm
Right.
equally passionate about politics. I'm equally passionate. Combine it all. Because that's why God created you with all of those desires, because he knew there would be a need for it.
Welcome to Fortune Podcast. I'm your host, Jessica Elijah. Today we have an incredible guest who I know all too well, and her story is going to inspire you. Everybody, welcome Rebecca Elijah.
Hey, that's me. Hey,
Hi,
guys.
Rebecca.
Hey, Jess. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, it's good to see you, Shorty.
It's good to see you. For the people that are listening, how do we know each other?
So, have you guys seen Parent Trap? If your dad is my dad and your mother is my mother, we're sisters. We're sisters.
Yes. I'm older than you by 2 years,
Yeah.
and we've always been friends for
Yes.
life. So love you so much.
love you
Thank
too.
you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. This is exciting.
Of course, it is exciting, and it's good to kind of get to know you and your thought process on a different level.
Hey.
So yes.
Oh my God.
So taking it back to the very beginning, Becky, or I call you Becky.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes. What did you want to be growing up?
Ooh, okay. I've always wanted to be a singer. I said I want to be a celebrity because I know how to say celebrity, right? But I always wanted to be a singer. And oh my God, just even growing up, it's the way I'd be making up my own songs. And Jessica would be like, oh, wait, this eats.
Yeah.
I'm a support. And she'd be supportive the whole time through. So yes.
Be your little backup dancer. Even though you would always like mess up I'm like, whose lyrics are these? You're like, oh, it's my song now. I'm like, oh.
Literally,
okay,
because like, I just felt like it don't matter the song. I have to make sure that I resonate with it. So I always change lyrics. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I didn't know them, y'all.
She didn't know them, but it's okay. You made it your own.
Yeah.
You made it your own. So kind of just following that, like, where did you grow up? How was it like for you?
Born and raised in Las Vegas,
You
Nevada.
were. Yes.
It was hot.
Very hot.
It was always hot over there. But I think growing up in Las Vegas was really interesting because we got a little bit of everything in the sense where it's like PWI, right?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it cultivated who I am now, right?
Yes.
We are very much so the Paramore, but we also love the we can, you know what I'm saying? We love the rap, we love the hip hop.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we are Nigerian American.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think just the different vibes and the mixture of where we were, it created kind of like a free floater energy that I had where it's like I can fit into any place, but I never really felt like I had a place, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And I would say our parents kind of have a big hand in that because like all their friends, like Filipino, Mexican, you know, Russian, German, we had just so many backgrounds. So for us, we were always just so open to so many different cultures. So I had the similar experience where I didn't really feel like I fit into one group, but I was a part of like every group.
Community.
Yeah.
And I think it also helped in terms of being able to socialize and talk to different people.
Yes.
But I love the fact that even growing up in such a wide variety of like different people, cultures, we were also introduced to a whole bunch of different music because our dad used to DJ. So it was like always like when we were younger, it was a party every single weekend, and we'd be trying to sleep, but Foxy Brown is like bumping.
Yeah,
like,
my dad is obsessed with like having a good sound system and a bass.
Literally.
So he'd be like, baby, go upstairs. So we'd be trying to sleep in our little pajamas and like literally the house would be shaking.
Quite literally shaking.
It's so funny, but those are fun times for sure.
I enjoyed growing up. I think there was a whole bunch of like experiences where I feel like I'm one of those people that like back in my day, when did that happen? But I'm really blessed to have had the life that I had growing up.
I think we definitely went through some hard times as well, but I think like those early years really set the tone for joy that helped us to weather the storms that came later in life. So kind of moving on from like wanting to be a singer when you were younger, how was that looking like in childhood for you? Did you do any activities that supported that? Or how was it in like grade school, high school?
Oh my God. Well, thank God for very supportive parents. We just told, I want to be a singer. They're like, okay, bet. Are you serious about this? And truly, it was just, I feel like I came out the womb just wanting to sing, right?
Yes.
And our parents put us in acting school. We went to a couple like different acting schools. Yeah. So I did modeling and singing. So I was always doing like something on stage, like going to different auditions, doing little like runway shows here and there, right? Yeah. And performing. It was really interesting. I think the experiences that God has blessed me with, now that I look back, you kind of forget that you do a lot of those things. Yeah. I think also I led worship.
Yes, at church.
Church. So that also gave me a foundation to learn how to sing in front of people, right? But also to progress past like what I'm experiencing in behind the scenes, right? Because our parents are pastors. Yeah. So even growing up like with church and still having to go to school and experiencing all the things that we were experiencing at school, but being able to show up and kind of put whatever you're experiencing to the side and lay it down and sing. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I think that affected the way I show up even now when it comes to performing, because it's like, if I need an escape route, I'm like, let me just sing and also surrender it to God.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in school, I was also doing talent shows.
Yes,
singing national anthems. But I always loved to just do anything that was entertainment. Right. So what else did I do? I think, oh my God, I forgot theater, right?
Yes,
my God.
Yes.
I used to like love putting on the performances. Like at school, we do, there was something that was kind of like Dare, but it wasn't Dare for cat.
Yeah.
Do you remember what that program was called?
I'm not sure the name of the program, but I remember the performance that you put on. Yeah. And it was like so emotional.
Oh my God, yeah.
And dramatic, but good.
Yeah, and so I kind of was always like, I didn't really have a spot to fit in, but I loved that because it gave me the freedom to go anywhere and do anything. And then I also cheerleading,
you dance. You did quite a bit.
Yeah.
One thing that I really admired about you growing up is you'd always put yourself out there, especially for the talent shows. She'd be like, yeah, I signed up to sing. I'm like, wait, that's a big deal. You'd be singing in front of the whole school. And I remember, especially in high school, like when it's like nerve-wracking and you could hear a pin drop.
Oh my God.
I know that you did well. You also got so many callbacks, like in Hollywood. That was its own experience where it's like, you know what? Knowing what we know today, thank goodness some of those TV God's shows protection. And record deals didn't kind of work out at that time.
Yeah, I agree. And I think just even saying that, it gives you great perspective when you're able to look back and you see like, wow, God's hand has always been on our lives. Yeah. Even when we felt like, God, why aren't you here? That's actually when he was the most present, because he didn't allow that situation to go forth because he knew what it would end in.
Right.
So like even going to acting school and singing classes, I was dedicated. There was a time where like, oh my God, we love our parents so much because the way they would sacrifice and they would drive us like miles out.
It was very far. Like it was almost like an hour drive there and back. And then we went to different acting schools at the time. Yeah. So they dropped me and my sister Angel off and then they dropped you and my brother off. And it was just our brother off. And it would just be so much. Yeah. And then work. And then they were kind of going through their own things as a unit. And, you know, to see that they just could sacrifice and never let us feel the burden of what they were going through was so inspiring.
And I think being adults now and looking back at the energy that they had,
they believed in us. Yeah. I could say one thing, I will shout out to them. I will say, it's like, I want to do soccer. They put us in soccer
classes
immediately.
Ballet, gymnastics,
everything.
What were we in? Karate,
dance, cheer, karate.
They said, what you want to be? So I think that also cultivated like a go get it and go do it energy where it's like, there was no limitation. If you want to do it, try it.
And they were really good at pivoting because like if I changed my mind the next day, they're like, how can I support you?
Yeah.
I think my dad, one day I'll never forget him trying to teach me how to like walk the runway.
Oh my God. Yes.
He's like, okay, do it like this. I'm like, yes, you better teach me this.
It's very true. Cause I also did pageants.
Yes.
And I was Miss Preteen Nevada runner
Yes, you were.
up. Okay,
Yes,
shorty. But it was really awesome because I didn't know what I was doing, but my dad was like, baby, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to walk with your shoulders back. I said, hold on. How you know all of this?
You were taking notes.
Taking notes.
And then me on the other end, I'm like, maybe I want to be a chef today. My mom was like, I got you. Get ready for this. And she would teach me like all of her favorite dishes. So nice to have that like positive unit. Upbringing and supportive. And I would say like, we also have more siblings and they're so funny. Oh my God, I love my family so much. So I think it's helpful to lean into the comedy, to lean into the joy, and to know that like even when life is hard, we can sing, we can dance, we can support each other. Our faith, of course, helps us. So that's really incredible.
I always say that the talents that God gives us, the passions that he gives us are natural self-soothers.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I love to dance.
Yeah.
So why aren't you dancing when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling weary? Or sometimes even singing is a self-soother. Oh, I want to go like act. And you feel so much better after you leave your acting class. And you're like, oh my God. It's like a natural self-soother. So I feel like when you do the things that you're passionate about and that God created that gift for you, you create not only like a home for yourself, but you're able to soothe yourself. So even in the midst of adversity and hardship, there's something in you that can power through because your body, your spirit is in agreement with the gift that you have.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, just go ahead and speak to our soul. We're going to get into that. Let's actually get into that right now.
Okay.
So for college, so you started like, mostly entertainment subjects, like in school and such like that. Not even like getting into like the high school drama that you had to go through. We'll skip that chapter. Thank goodness like you had your art to help you get through that. And that's just basically like, maybe counselors and teachers being bullies, which is really odd, but it is what it is. But fast forward to college, how did you choose the college you went to? And how did you choose your major? Because you didn't major in entertainment.
I did not.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Well, because I had only been in Las Vegas my whole life, I was like, maybe I want to change my environment. Let me switch it up a little bit and see what's out there.
Yeah.
So I got a scholarship to go to a school in Oregon originally.
Yes.
So I went there and, Oregon, they don't really got that many people that, color folk like us, right?
Yeah.
And so
at least the school you went to.
Yes, at least the school I went to.
Yeah.
U of O, they was popping. They was in there. But the school I went to was like a liberal arts, like
small,
private.
Yes.
Yeah. And so they treated me like I was Beyonce sometimes. It was nice.
You got star treatment there, I will say.
But it was such a different experience for me because like, even though I was out like active and doing all of these different things like singing, let me sign up for my school talent show, I was very much to myself. Yeah. So I would do all of that and then I'd go home and I'd be in my room and I'd watch Glee, reruns of Glee. You know what I'm saying?
Loved
Glee. Literally. But it was one of those things where going to college forced me to step out of my comfort zone. Now I'm managing my own time.
Right.
Now I'm trying to, it's me and God now. Like, cause God, like I've always had my family. I've always had someone, I just go to the room next door and there you were. My brother's downstairs. Like my sister, we've had people surrounded in our like close-knit community, even church family, right? So going out into like the real world, your first experience, you don't know what to expect. Like. But I think in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to not only reinvent me, but to say who I am, and people don't know who I am. So in the sense where it's like, yeah, Becky, you used to be shy, even though you would be performing and all that stuff. No one knows that I was shy.
It's true.
So now be confident. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I just made it a decision. I'm confident.
You are.
And so because I moved like that, it was almost as if like, I'm like, oh, this is me, And so it was nice to be surrounded with like the friends that I had at that time. My major was biology because I wanted to be a pediatrician, okay?
Yeah.
Like, I think growing up, everyone in Nigeria is like, oh, you're going to be a lawyer. You're going to be a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was like, oh, pediatrician. I love children.
Right.
Always loved children. I knew I wanted to do, if I was going to do anything in a field that was not entertainment, it would be concerning youth and children.
Yeah.
And so did biology, saw blood. And then I figured that's not necessarily what I'm called to. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And then I ended up having to pivot and transfer schools.
Okay.
And when I transferred, I was just like, God, I really loved where I was before. Mm-hmm. Why did you move me?
Right.
And he was like, I need you to trust me and know that I'm guiding you no matter where I'm sending you. So at a very young age, I feel like I had to learn that my pivot game had to be strong.
Right.
And you had to be okay with pivoting. For someone who does not like change, pivoting was like, what do you mean?
I know that you hated change. Oh my gosh.
Change with a passion.
Like if there was a person that was like, doesn't like change, Becky. Like that's like the first person.
I'm like, don't do it.
Yeah.
And I think he knew that I needed to be accustomed to things constantly changing because that's just life.
The world we live in.
And the industry is always changing, no matter what field you are. So I ended up going to school still in back in Nevada, but Reno area. And I ended up switching over to psychology. And I just remember making the decision, God, I feel like you're calling me to do psychology and having to tell my parents. And I was shaking in my bootstraps because what you mean you're not going to be a doctor or a lawyer no more, And they were like, okay, that's what you want to do? I said, yeah.
You sure?
I'm like, are you sure? They're like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm positive. They're like, okay, baby, you can do what you want to do, but you have to be sure about it.
Yeah.
And did you pray about it? I'm like, I did pray. So I think that's one thing that I also appreciated about growing up is that they always... They helped us to cultivate a relationship with God too, in the sense where it's what did God say about it?
Right.
Did you sit with it instead of kind of just making sporadic decisions
or forcing us to go a certain route?
Yes, and I really appreciated that, and so that's when I stepped into psychology, but also because both my mom and my dad, with them being pastors, they're always counseling people. They're always, even they used to sit us down when we were younger to ask how we were doing. We would have family fun nights, or we'd have moments where they would we'd do Bible studies, but then we would sit down and then they'd be like, okay, and so how's life? They would use that as a gateway.
Yeah, as an intro. Are you okay?
So what's going on in school?
But it always was at the right time. Because I was like, you know what? And I appreciate that because maybe kids don't have the tools to know how to express themselves, or because there's not an environment to bring up the hard things, because kids go through a lot too.
Yeah. And so that opened doors for a new passion. And I think it was so interesting I feel like innately I've just always counseled and always been the peacemaker, but to find a facet that actually encompassed that, I felt like I was discovering more of my identity, but God knew I needed to stop being stubborn and to step out of myself and allow the change so that I can discover that for me, right? And so even while I was in school, I was still doing nonprofit work. So working with different organizations, different fraternities, sororities, and, putting on events for the school, still dancing, still strolling, doing different things where I can contribute, but also to still fulfill that, I love to perform energy. I was event planning, had some really interesting moments. I feel like also just always meeting celebrities at the most random moments. I felt like Lizzie McGuire sometimes. I'm like, how is this really happening in life? But I feel like just having that thread of different things happening, it was God showing me hey, I'm still calling you here. Does that make sense?
I love that. No, honestly, just everything you said, because it's cool to see your thought process and kind of how you went there. So at what point did you know when you started psychology, this is where I want to be? Or did you have to study it for a little bit to be you know what? This is where I need to be.
I knew I always wanted to help people.
Okay.
I think everyone in my family has that natural save the world energy.
Yeah. It's
we're
extra.
We're a little extra, right? But we're all Clark Kent and Lois Lanes in some way in our minds. But at the same time, I just knew that purpose-wise, I always wanted to help people. And I wanted to help people understand their emotions. I think just being in college, I didn't realize that no matter where God sends you, it's an assignment.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why you're there.
It's true.
Because one conversation can change a person. I remember even in high school, just running into this girl in the bathroom, and she was literally in the process of trying to slit her wrist.
Oh, wow.
And I was thrown the F off. I said, what is, so, you know, just talking with her and sitting with her. And that was like the first instinct of like, wow, like you were going, and it was you would not expect it from this person.
Right.
And so having that conversation with her and being able to like calm her down, I was like, this is something that I want to be able to talk,
and you're
to
gifted
people.
at doing it.
Yeah,
I feel like you were low-key my therapist growing up too, so I knew that passion and that talent. And I think now, you know, always what is it, like hindsight or like vision? Like what's the saying? It's like 2020.
Yeah.
I don't even remember the saying.
I don't.
Whatever. But we know what we're talking about. It's you always have a clearer vision when you have like basically the hindsight to look back on.
Yeah.
So nowadays, like you're in the perfect field because it's more than needed, I'd say.
Oh my God! And I didn't realize how much of a need there was for it. I think what was so interesting about. So I think in my undergrad, I was like, oh, I want to help people, but I wasn't really sure if it was still like psychology, but I was like, okay, psychology. I'm going to stick with it because I'm good at it. When I went into my master's program and I just graduated.
Shout out. Okay, maybe give a little bit of a quick shout out. Like, what did you study and what did you graduate with?
I got my master's in clinical psychology with an emphasis in marriage and family therapy.
I love that.
And your girl got summa cum laude.
Graduated near 4.0 from Pepperdine University.
So
that's
awesome.
Not a small feat. Congratulations.
Thank you. It was hard.
Yeah, the process was quite a bit. And do you want to talk about that a little bit? Because you were driving to Compton, you were driving to Glendale, you were driving all these different places in LA. And you would have to kind of counsel these children who were going through some circumstances that you wouldn't imagine the youngest child to go through. So,
and I think that it was so interesting because even how you're mentioning like the hindsight and it coming full force, like coming back around, it was interesting to be in a demographic because they ask you, where do you want to be placed? Like before they place you like at a site.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not really sure. I had to like contemplate. I was like, well, I need to pray about it. And then I was like, someone's like, why not children? And I was like, wait.
Yeah, duh.
Oh my God, I love children. Yeah. And so I ended up working first in Compton and in LA, where I was living, it was a 2-hour drive there, 2-hour drive back. Yeah. So it's like 4 hours a day, literally like driving to Vegas, like one way. And that in itself was a training because I don't like driving that much, you know, but it felt like with everything and every place that God was placing me, it was training for something that I didn't know I needed to be trained for. But I got to Compton and I was just hearing about all of these children and what they were going through. And I'm like, at such a young age, you would not expect.
And the fact that they're very perceptive, the things that they would tell you.
Yes. And I'm like, hold on, you putting me on. You know what I'm saying? Like kids are so aware of everything that's happening around them. So to have that support system and even to just cultivate an environment for them to be heard and to be seen is such a big deal. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was like one of the biggest things. A lot of these children just needed to know that they were heard and know that it was safe to speak, right? And I think growing up, it was a little bit different because we didn't have the presence of social media like we do now.
It's so true.
And social media can be very toxic in the wrong hands, right? But learning how to navigate this, because even as an adult, we're learning how to navigate social media. We're learning how to navigate all the things you're hearing in the news, but they're experiencing this as a child.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And some of the clients that I've worked with, people born in during COVID, during 2020.
Wow.
So imagine like the trauma that's already embedded like in their system. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like in the height of that.
And there's a lot of like higher death rates in those lower income communities because they didn't have access to like good like hospitals, maybe insurance, or it was just a crazy time for everybody in general, but it especially affected those communities.
Oh my God, it really did. And I think God really touched my heart in that because I was also doing another company called Healed Entertainers, right?
That's your company.
Yes, my company. Yes, my company, you know. But during that time, God had been speaking to me to work with children in the communities, like in Compton, like just different places, right? And so even like, and working with so many amazing people that contributed to donations and like being able to speak into children and kind of create a safe environment, because the presence of gang violence, the presence of like, oh my God, gun violence, you name it.
On top of everything that's going on in the world. And then a lot of their parents, as I remember, like they wouldn't really see them much because they're working low income jobs, double shifts, just trying to afford whatever their rent or mortgage was in those communities. So those kids were mostly on their own.
They were. And I think what was so beautiful about who, like, you don't have, okay, and this is what I want to say. You don't have to choose one lane to stick with it. When God has made you a multifaceted person where you're like, I love this, I love that, there is a grace to combine and be, you are your own niche.
It's true.
So you don't have to say, oh, I'm an actor and you stick to that. I'm a singer and I stick to that. Oh, but I love children and education. I'm equally passionate about politics. I'm equally passionate. Combine it all. Because that's why God created you with all of those desires, because he knew there would be a need for it. So I think even being in Compton and also working in the San Fernando Valley, being able to kind of create an atmosphere where we're teaching them about the different entertainment aspects of like singing, modeling, dancing, and like
and they had a
giving.
Good time.
Yeah, they did. It was so fun.
Partnering with cool sponsors. Shout out to Disney and all the other sponsors that would provide backpacks.
Whole and Scene. There were so many people that contributed to that being possible. You know, so I'm really grateful for that. But I think it's just, it highlights that when it's time, you will understand why God put all the things that he put inside of you so that it makes sense. Because all of that and psychology, I was able to talk to the parents too, and they got their own little therapy session too. So it just was like, it's humbling to just see how everything works out.
It's beautiful to see that it all worked out together for you, and like you have these environments where it's all coming together. But was it ever difficult? Because I think nowadays it's like more popular to say, oh, I'm a multi-hyphenate. Like, but back in the day, it was really ingrained into you to focus on one lane. I know our parents kind of helped us because they were like, you could do whatever you want. You could be anything. So that helped. But there was still pressure from the world to choose one lane. So did that ever affect you at all? Or did you just know, like, I'm just going to do whatever I want to do?
I had to encourage myself to be defiant of the systems that tried to tell me to fit into a box. And that was difficult. It didn't come without tears. It didn't come without questioning my identity. It didn't come without questioning my worth. It didn't come without questioning God and why he made me the way he made me. But all of those questions produced the answer as to who I am now and what I'm looking to become, right? But it was definitely difficult growing up, especially because if you think about anything, right? Everyone has an opinion on how things are supposed to be done.
It's true.
Everyone thinks, no, it needs to look like this. Being Nigerian and American, that in itself, the cultural difference. Being Christian and also loving like R&B music, loving to dance, like loving to just show up
just
and
to be yourself in the world,
right? And then also like, oh, you want to be an entertainer, but also you want to go the psychology route.
Like an academic and an entertainer.
Like how does that look like? And so I constantly felt like a contradiction to myself. Like, whoa. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm supposed to be yin, but y'all say yang. Now I'm over here trying to be yang, but you said yin. So it's like, dang, like, where do you get that balance from? And I think constantly, number one, having a support system, but affirming myself. I had to be okay with not fitting in. Because before I used to ask myself, hey, like, what's wrong with me for not fitting in? But I had to tell myself, and this is what I tell a lot of the people that I coach, a lot of people that I like even counsel, that being unique is a price. There's a price to being unique.
It's so true.
You know, but when you're able to kind of accept that, where it's like, I want to be a part of the crowd, but I know I want to be on the stage. you have to learn how to manage and navigate what it looks like to be on stage versus to be in the crowd.
Yeah.
Because being on the crowd, you're like able to, hey, like kind of blend in
or
right?
hide a little.
But on the stage, everyone sees you. Everyone makes a judgment. Everyone says what they want to say, but what is the judgment I'm making of myself?
Yeah.
What is the rhetoric I'm going to say about myself?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I had to start to cultivate an environment within my mind to say, I am enough. And I love who I am.
Yeah.
Because, and no one can tell me what I'm supposed to do unless, bring God into consultation room, right? But like, no one can tell me that I'm not being me correctly when I am the person that knows the trueness of me.
Right. Because you are you.
Because I'm me.
Yeah. So who would know you better?
So who would know me better?
Exactly.
So once I created that mindset and was like, this is where I choose to live, and this is what I choose to say.
Right.
And saying like, hey, Jesus, are you doubling down about this?
Yeah.
He doubled down on it. There's like a release and there's a confident to walk and knowing that I'm not going to always have to walk alone even though it feels quiet, because eventually you'll keep walking and then you'll see some people are following you behind you or some people are next to you and they're also doing a walk alone. But hey, you look like me. Hey, you kind of look like me too. Hey, blah, blah, blah. And you're able to meet people where they're at while still keeping your individuality.
Right. I love that so much. There's so much to even say about that. And I will say thank you so much because you helped me a lot with that. Like there's times where I get hard on myself because I think nobody really talks about the burden it is to have a lot of different talents. And nowadays there's so much agency. You can really like we're doing a podcast now. You know, I could be working in marketing. I could also be having a business where I'm consulting. Like there's so many different pathways, talk less of entertainment, loving to sing and dance as outlets. So it's like, you know, you can feel like, what do I focus on? Which one is going to be the money back? But allowing yourself to just be. And that's why I'm so grateful for your Healed Entertainers, because not only do you do like life coaching and consulting, but sometimes you do meetups in LA that bring in people who are so talented, like worked on some of the biggest projects you've ever seen or heard of. But I appreciate it because maybe I might feel alone, but they also feel alone. And then they all like, everybody's going through their own process, but there's a kind of coming together where it's like, oh, I'm not alone. Like, it's not like an experience that's unique to only me. And I know that's a thing in like psychology. Maybe I'll like read one of your books one of these days. And it's like, I find out that like, oh my goodness, like some things that we feel like, oh, we're so alone. I'm the only one that knows what it feels like to be me. Yeah. And then to hear like, oh, like, yes, only I've gone through what I've gone through, but then there's other people who are going through their own process. Yeah. It makes it easier not to fall into as deep of a depression, if I'm being honest, because I'm like, oh, it's not just me. There's like other like-minded creatives that go through the same thing.
Yeah, and in psychology, we call that black and white thinking versus like rainbow, like a rainbow thought process where it's like, it's either like, it's only this, like, if I failed at this, then I'm going to fail forever. Like, oh, if I can't fit in here, it's going to be this forever. Where it's like, okay, well, can't two things be true at the same time? Okay, I'm not where I want to be yet. But the more I do work, the more I continue on my journey, I will see the fruit of it. And I've already progressed this far. Right. And it's like, oh, God has not sent me this far to only go this far. It's right. True. And also, let me just say this. Let me stop right here. Because Jessica is a rock star.
Oh my gosh.
I've always called her Kim Possible. Like my ringtone, ding, 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 ding. That's her ringtone for me, right? Because even in the multifaceted like nature, I feel like you taught me how to be multifaceted. Thank you. You actually taught me that I could do anything, because you sitting here, but you also did show choir. You was over here doing basketball and cheering. Like, what? Yeah. So I think sometimes it's hard to see and even acknowledge all the work that we do in ourselves. It's true. Because it feels normal for us to be us. Yeah. And that's why you're like, oh, no one else can this and the third. But when you look at it and you're like, oh, dang. Like, wait, I actually did do that. Wait, you did that too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah. Healed Entertainers was actually such a big thing for me. Yeah. Because ever since I was 7, God kind of already told me what I was going to do. He said, I'm going to send you to the industry to save the lost entertainers and to work with youth and children. Like I knew from a young age, right? And so anytime I got lost in life, I feel like I still had an understanding of what I wanted to do. But sometimes you lose that. But it's so interesting to know that the passion doesn't leave you.
It doesn't.
So what you're called to do will always come with an innate
like
passion.
You have to do it or else you're gonna like crash out.
Yes, pretty much.
Yeah.
And so coming to LA and starting Healed Entertainers.
And what prompted your decision to move to LA? Was it like college, or did you also feel like, wait, I need to be here?
I knew I needed to be here.
Okay.
I always knew. In 2019, I tried to come down here and it just was not working. God said, go back. So I knew it wasn't the time yet, right? But I was like, oh, and I was trying to make it the time so hard. But God was like, this is not the time. And it's the same thing happened even like with school in general. Like, when I was younger, in high school, God told me I was going to go to Pepperdine. So I applied for my undergrad year. And that was the first letter I got back. And it was the first rejection letter I got back. And I was like, what?
You were like, what?
I said, God, but you said. And I was pressed. Becky don't need no stress. I was upset. I'm like, you said, And so I was questioning everything. But then it was interesting because after that, I got an additional 20 rejection letters.
Literally every college in California. Mind you, like you graduated top of your class. Yeah. There's people like with like a 1.9 GPA getting into like even community college. When you got rejected from community college, I was like, oh yeah, it's not the time. I'm so sorry.
And so I was like, what is going on? And my dad was like, look, my dad was shook. He said, with the GPA, what is going on? I said, Daddy, I don't know. He said, let me go pray. So he prayed about it. He said, he came back and said, oh yeah. Baby, it's just not your time yet. He said, God is saying it's not the time. He actually was saving your life.
Wow.
At the time that he, And
now with like entertainment, especially like since you're a singer.
Yeah.
That,
oh
you
my
don't know
God,
what
there was so
kind of
many
avenues
opportunities that I was supposed to have that fell through. That I look back and I hear everything that's happening now. I'm like, it was the grace of God that fell through.
It's so true.
But fast forward, what was it, like 4 or 5 years later, I totally forgot about Pepperdine for a second. It just randomly came up and God was like, apply for like a university. And so I ended up applying and then I got in and God reminded me of the word. He said, remember I told you were going to go to Pepperdine. And I was like, oh my.
Full circle.
You did say that. I'm glad you brung it up because I done forgot.
It only happened to be like, what, seven years later?
But it was the right time. And even moving here, like everything happened with like
back to back.
And
it was so easy.
It was so easy.
Easy housing in North Hollywood.
It was so easy.
Like amazing rent. Like the amenities you had. Some people get denied. Yeah.
When I say it doesn't make sense how it happened, that's how you know, like when God's hand is in it, there will be a grace for you to go. There'll be a grace for you to come. So
even the lore, like you just running into Stevie Wonder, running into Beyonce, running into all these people. So it just shows you like when the time is right. Did you ever feel like you were losing that because I feel like if we can segue a bit, like that entertainment side has been coming up more. I know you've been going to more events and you've been leaning more into your own passion and singing more for yourself. But like, were those signs to you? Like, okay, I'm running into Stevie Wonder, who's like one of my favorite entertainers. Beyonce, what are you doing here?
Oh my
Ariana,
God.
what are you doing here? Running into all these different like platforms and environments. Like some of the stories like people wouldn't even believe. Was that like, did that encourage you? Like, oh, maybe I can still sing? Because you were really in your psychology bag for a long time.
Because I gave up.
Yeah.
I gave up. I'm not gonna hold you. I did. Like, I think when it doesn't happen and you feel like, okay, it's just not the time. It's not in the cards for me. God, you pivoted me. Cool. I'ma ride this pivot all the way down. And so I can be like, back in my day, I did what I needed to do with my psychology degree. God said, this is just a gateway for this, right? Yeah. But I think it was number one, I thank God for the community that I have and the support system that I have to even go to some of these events. It's so amazing to have people that also love God, that also are impacted by each other. You know what I'm saying? Where you're pouring into each other. So I'm blessed to have even had my friends like that and the opportunity to even like attend some of these things. But I think just even like running into Stevie Wonder at church or like seeing Beyonce was just that was ridiculous. And then she came up and we got a photo op.
Yeah.
And then like,
and
what?
Then, like entertainment news or whatever.
Like that was, and I was just like, okay, God, you're saying something, right? And it definitely felt like confirmation, but then it was also a reminder that it's always been there. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because even when you can feel discouraged, discouragement doesn't mean the absence of desire, does not mean the absence of calling.
Yes, or the absence of like a manifestation of your dream eventually happening.
Exactly.
It's just in time. And I think those crazy, amazing moments always happen when you really need it.
Least expect it too. Yeah. And when you really need it. Because it's like, imagine it this way. You could be sad and you're walking with your head down. You're like, I'm never going to get there. You're walking. And you look up and you realize that you arrived at your destination, but you did not know that you were already tracking to get to the destination.
Right. It kind of just pops up on you sometimes. It just pops up on you.
Yeah. But I think that in itself has been a lesson for me to learn how to enjoy the process, like the journey. You know what I'm saying? Because we always trivialize the journey itself, but there's so much that you discover about who you are and what you want. So I think those things were good reminders, but I feel like if I'm being honest, the journey is actually where a lot of the joy came from. Yeah. Because it re-sparked my passion and it made me grow. And the things I'm like, oh, do I still like R&B music? Do I want to sing this type of music? Like, and being inspired by the people around me. I'm inspired by you. I'm inspired by my friends. I'm inspired by the people that are surrounding me and learning what I'm inspired by. Yeah. And using that as God saying like, hey, I'm reminding you, you're inspired because this is also in you. Right. You know? Right. So I think the inspiration of the journey also produced the spark that made me aware that it's still there.
Wow. That is so inspirational. And I love your perspective because sometimes you've gone through some hard moments where I'm just looking at you like, how are you handling this? Because for me, oh my gosh, you know, but you just be like, you know what? Life is just amazing. This is the way.
Mind you, that's after crashing out though. Okay. Because I do, do crash out. Everyone deserves a good crash out every like once in a while, right? Okay. But the pickup, you know?
Yeah, just jump right back.
Like you're never, no matter how broken you feel, it's never irreparable.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because it's true. There's some moments where you feel like, how am I ever going to get back up? Or how can I even have the faith to even believe that something good again can happen? Yeah. So I really, really appreciate that. So what's your next move? Because you've graduated, you've received some certifications, and you're still kind of like entertainment's making its reappearance. So what is your next move? Is it a balance act or are you going to choose more one?
I think it's still a balance act. Okay. I still have a desire to work with children in schools. Okay. I still have a desire to work with youth in general. But I also am stepping into more of the creative space. Okay. So stepping into like the film world and the singing world and making music for myself, actually. I'm in the process of that right now. So it's been amazing to kind of feel like, wow, like every step kind of feels like a new beginning, a new chapter. Right. But it's beautiful to feel like I have time to discover and to create. Right. And once I took off the time limit that I put on myself, I was able to create more. Yeah, so definitely stepping into the music space, the film space, and still counseling and working with youth. And also my company, Healed Entertainers, as a life coach.
Yes, you're doing so many amazing things. I feel like I can talk about this forever, but we've come to the end of the podcast. And I have some questions that I ask everybody at the end of each podcast. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's so inspiring.
Thank you for having me.
So the first question is, what was a struggle bus moment for you?
Ooh, a struggle bus moment.
Choose one. I know.
I was like, what chapter? Life has been interesting, but what season? I think a struggle bus moment for me was when I was younger. And I was trying to navigate what it looked like to love God and to want to be a performer and to want to be a singer. because there was a lot of bullying that I even got in the church space, and even from like friends, and from both worlds, right? And so trying to navigate feeling that lost was definitely a struggle bus moment for me. Yeah. But I feel like it was also the place of my biggest victory because it forced me to discover myself and to press in with self-love and faith and understanding that it's not always going to look like what people want it to look like, but what does God want it to look like for you? So, for you. Yeah.
So sophisticated. I love your perspective on things. Thanks. The next question is, what moment were you most proud of yourself as it relates to your profession?
Oh, dang. Well, I think my most recent proud is graduating because look, 2.5 years, Shadi. Whoa!
And it was a very intensive program. You kind of fast-tracked your program, actually, but your graduation was so beautiful. Overlooked the water. And you had your moment, summa cum laude. So definitely proud of you.
So that's probably the biggest moment at this moment.
Yes, I know there's more to come. What does success look like to you?
Ooh. I feel like success looks like love. Okay. When I say love, love of life, love of community, love of family, love of self. Success looks like freedom to be you. Okay. Success looks like joy, and joy that isn't tied to like structure. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah. Like that freedom, essentially.
Pretty much.
Love that. The last question for today is, what piece of advice would you give to people who are trying to reach their dreams?
Ooh. This is a constant thing that I'm talking about with my friends. Don't be afraid to be embarrassed. Do not be afraid to be embarrassed. The thing is, everyone starts someplace and everyone has not known what to do at a point in life.
It's true.
So of course you're going to look embarrassed. Of course you're going to feel awkward because you've never done it before.
Right.
But as soon as you say, I'm going to stop doing this because I don't want to be embarrassed,
that's when you stop.
You throw away the potential. You throw away your ability to become. So be okay with being embarrassed and don't be afraid to start over.
I love that.
It's okay to start over.
Don't be afraid to start over.
And then you don't have to wait till the New Year's. You don't have to wait till your birthday. You could wake up the next day and be like, hello, this is me, a new person, you know?
Yeah.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. So
I love that.
I think that's the advice I would give.
That's amazing advice. And that's something I've been trying to take on for myself, where I saw somebody say, don't be afraid to be seen trying. And I think that ties into the embarrassment factor, because nobody really wants to be a novice, but you have to
try. Yeah. Don't be too nonchalant that you miss out on everything that you want chalanted in your life. You want that money to be real chalant, don't you?
You want it to pop up.
You like what?
I love it. Rebecca / Becky, thank you so much for an amazing episode. It's always amazing to talk with you. Luckily, I have the privilege to talk to you whenever I want to. So I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. I learned a lot too in this short session. Hopefully to have you back.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yay.
That was such an amazing podcast. Now you see why I love my sister, and now I see why you do too. We're excited. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, and share, and I'll add all of our details in our description. Until next time, besties.